HHW Show podcast returns January 5th with a new season, Road to the Royal Rumble. Hector, Frank, Jason, Ovi will be on the set with the latest news and takeaways. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and you can listen wherever you listen to your favorite podcast app.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jawing About the G-Men, the Giants football podcast. I'm your host, Big Jason. I'm joined with my man, Joe Aguirre and Sean Scanlon. Special rendition. Today, we got the pregame show for the big primetime game between the Giants and the Browns. I know it's been a hectic day in football already, but we're here just to talk about the Giants. And starting things off, we got to get the house cleaning under control. Injury report, the Giants' key inactives, Daniel Jones, James Bradbury, Darnay Holmes, and the offensive coordinator, Jason Garrett, will not be here. Freddie Kitchens will be taking over control with the play calls for the Giants. And then as far as both cornerbacks being out, the Giants talked about a lot about Julian Love and Xavier McKinney moved him from safety to play some cornerback. And obviously Colt McCoy will be starting for Daniel Jones. Joe, what do you think of these inactives and what do you expect from the replacement today?
For me, the big one is James Bradbury. I feel like that's the one guy who's most irreplaceable. And with Darnay Holmes out, you know, I do have some concerns, obviously, about the secondary, which for the most part, it's played pretty well for the Giants, and we've seen them do a really good job. Obviously, last week was a tough week all around, but when you leave your defense out there for about 38 minutes, you know, it is what it is. That's what you're going to expect. I do look. This was a crazy Sunday. And while I did pick the Browns to win this game, I suddenly feel way more optimistic for the Giants, who, after Dallas's win and Washington's loss, really needs to win this football game. This would put the Giants back in the driver's seat with 2 games to go. Dallas coming off a big win off of the 49ers. I'm glad Daniel Jones isn't playing. I love Daniel Jones. Want him to get back and healthy so that we can get into the postseason and do this. Again, I don't expect anything from Colt McCoy other than to hit a couple of key passes in the start against Seattle. He did just that. He didn't have to make a lot of completions. He had a couple he needed to make, and he made them both. Or maybe 3, I think I had said last time. Again, I don't think the Giants are going to need much from him, but they have to be able to move the football, Sean. They've got to be able to stay on the field. It was something Daniel Jones couldn't do last week. I think the Giants are in good position right now with Colt McCoy stepping in there for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I agree. Colt McCoy just has to go in there and not make mistakes pretty much, you know, just not turn the ball over, make the third down conversions when he can. And the Giants have to run the ball with success, obviously. The Browns aren't that great of a run defense, so I think they have a good opportunity to do this. And they have to be able to run on early downs to get the third and manageables for Colt McCoy. You know, so they just need to make the game easier for Colt McCoy, I think. And I think they get some movement up front. And then you guys mentioned it, but on defense, I think, you know, losing Bradbury is huge. Luckily, the Browns don't really have an outside receiver that's too dominant. Their best receiver is Jarvis Landry, who will primarily be working in the slot. So like Jay said, Xavier McKinney, Julian Love, they're going to have to step up in the slot. They're going to have to play some big games. But and then for the Browns offense, we got to stop the run. Pretty much that's what it comes down to. We got to stop the run on early downs, try and force Baker to win the games for the Browns, because I think when we force the ball into Baker's hands, I think that's when the Browns kind of have problems. Sometimes he could turn the ball over. So I think that will be key for the Giants. But like you said, Joe, it's been a weird day in the NFL. And I feel like every week, you know, the NFC East, the leader in the division, has kind of been switching back and forth. So I have a good feeling that the Giants could come out and pull out the upset here. And I feel pretty good about our chances tonight.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in the Giants as well. The run, it's going to be interesting. We'll get to that when we talk about keys to victory later. But another point I want to ask you, starting with you, Joe. Freddie Kitchens coming in for Jason Garrett. How do you expect him to do? I know this is his former team from last year. Do you suspect it to him take it slow, him take it just one play at a time? Or do you expect him to use his knowledge from last year and come and attack the Browns early?
Well, I mean, look, Jason Garrett being out isn't an ideal situation, but if he's going to be out for a game, I think this is the one you want him to be out for. Obviously, sure. Freddie Kitchens has a great knowledge of that team. I think he knows those players inside and out, kind of knows what sort of things would work. And I would expect a really good game plan out of him today. I think he's going to be a little more aggressive than what Jason Garrett has been. And I don't know what that will necessarily entail, but I think it's important. And Sean, I'm sure you'll agree with me. You don't want to get into a shootout with this team. You don't want to get down 14-0 and have to really rely on Colt McCoy getting that football down the field, because you'll be in for a really long day if that be the case.
Yeah, if the Giants end up going into a shootout in this game, I think that they're going to come out on the losing end. The way that they're going to win is how they've been doing it all season, is scoring around 17 to 20 points and relying on your defense to go out there and stop the opposing offense, which, I think that they have an opportunity to do tonight. But with Freddie Kitchens' play calling, I would expect a lot of trick plays and a lot of, plays out of just different plays from what the playbook usually brings. Obviously with Daniel Jones out, the playbook's going to change a little bit. We already saw how it changed against the Seahawks the first time Colt McCoy started. And with Freddie Kitchens, he obviously knows the offense, but he's not the play caller. So I would definitely expect a couple changes, some trick plays here and there, and usually a bunch of short passing, stuff like that. I wouldn't expect them to be airing it out all night. That's more of Daniel Jones' game. So I expect definitely a modification to the game plan, but I think it will be similar to what we've seen all season, though. It is trying to run the ball on early downs and then get to third and manageable so we can convert on those. I
think Freddie will, again, I always lament about the fact this team doesn't run trick plays. I think we'll see at least a couple with Freddie, and I think he'll give you some different looks, work some play action where maybe you wouldn't normally see the Giants run it. I think there's going to be some trickery. And again, let's just think, like you said, Jace, Freddie's got the knowledge. I think Freddie really knows, what this team will be preparing for. He knows exactly what their preparation has been. So, I think when you're sort of in their planning room, it certainly gives you a leg up as far as figuring out what's going to work.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I guess you could say on the other side of the coin, Pat Shurmur is on the Browns sidelines. But I don't think that will have as much of an impact because this whole team's been pretty different from when Pat Shurmur was there last year.
Yeah, this is a giant team. Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah. My bad.
That would have been really cool, though.
There are a lot of players, though, in this game, obviously on different teams. Kevin Zeitler and Jabril Peppers both came from the Browns. Olivier Vernon and B.J. Goodson on the other side. So there's definitely a lot of storylines between these two squads. It would be a lot of fun if Odell was playing tonight, but
you're right.
I think it's fun to see the Giants on Sunday night. It's the first time the Giants have been on a Sunday night game in a couple of years, so it's good to see that they're giving some respect to the Giants, and the Giants are hopefully back in the playoff picture and winning games again.
To me, no matter what happens tonight, I think the fact that in week 15, the New York Giants are playing in, slotted, obviously flexed into a primetime spot. If I would have told you earlier this year this game was getting flexed, you would have told me I was crazy. And the idea that we're here and it's happening again, if the Giants lose with Colt McCoy at the quarterback spot, I'm going to be disappointed, but I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, this is unfortunate for the Giants to have to go in there without your starting quarterback, who to me really has been getting it together. Obviously, the last game was an anomaly. Obviously, he was way too injured to do anything or to be effective. And with the way the entire offensive line imploded, you really couldn't see it. But I'm proud of the Giants, and I'm thrilled that in 30 minutes time we're going to be watching a meaningful game.
Yes, sir.
Couple days before Christmas that has huge playoff implications on both sides. I mean, that's exciting. And again, knowing Washington lost, that the Giants control their own destiny here with a win and really put themselves in they got a tough game next week for sure. So you don't want to leave too much to chance.
Yeah, you're right. But now let's move on to our keys to victory. And Joe, what do you think is the biggest key that the Giants need to make sure happens to assure that they get the win tonight?
Well, again, I think the key is putting Colt McCoy in good positions. They've got to stay on the football field. And again, if that's not necessarily touchdowns, and I don't expect it to be a whole bunch of them, at least some field goals. I'm all right with 8 play drives that end in punts, where maybe you're pinning Cleveland deep. I'd like to see special teams step up. I think special teams could certainly do something. The way they've been playing the last 4 or 5 weeks, it'd be nice to see them make some plays. They definitely have to make some tackles. The Giants could certainly be in trouble with another lapse on special teams. It's kind of something we've been seeing a little bit of late. Had a block punt. We've seen some big returns against the Giants. So it'd be nice to see them contribute in some way. But it's all gonna depend on Wayne Gallman. I think somebody commented about the Wayne train. Got to get the ball in his hands. Got to hit these guys in the slots. You've got everybody healthy. Evan Ingram's going to be in the game. He's got to hold on to the ball. But I really do. This, to me, it's the same as it was 2 weeks ago. The game plan against Seattle I thought was perfect. Stay on the field as much as you can. That defense will deliver when they're rested. It's as simple as that. Isaiah Groves nails it. You need a full team effort tonight. I do think the Giants have it in them. I am still, though, Sean, really concerned about the offensive line, the way they looked last week, and the idea that you're playing a pretty good front four in Cleveland is a major concern of mine. Can you alleviate that in any way?
That's definitely a key that I was going to bring up. It's just Myles Garrett. I mean, he probably is the best pass rusher in the NFL. So Andrew Thomas and Cam Fleming, they're going to have to be on top of their games. But I would expect Freddie Kitchens to, bring a couple jumbo tight end sets, maybe have a running back chip Myles Garrett all day, or just double team Garrett, because he can take over a game at any time, and if you let him. So they're going to have to be on their game. You bring up a great point about special teams. They've been super sketchy the past couple of weeks in terms of coverage, in terms of just missed assignments in the block game, in either the punt or the kickoff. So I think they definitely have to step up. It was one of the strengths of the team earlier in the year, and now the past couple of weeks they've let this team down. So I think they definitely have to be better with that. And then the other key to victory, obviously the run game on both sides. We got to stop the run, and we have to get the run going on offense. But I think key to victory, stopping Jarvis Landry is going to be huge. It's probably Baker's favorite target. Like I said, Darnay Holmes is out, so Julian Love and Xavier McKinney, who both don't have a lot of experience playing the slot cornerback, they're in for a big night. So Jarvis Landry can take over that matchup, but Xavier McKinney and Julian Love are going to have to do their part to try and stop him.
I got a feeling about Xavier McKinney. And, we know this is a big play guy. Jace, I know you know the college game better than anybody. Not to doubt you at all, Sean, but, I remember when the idea the Giants were going to pass on Isaiah Simmons, you guys know I was very upset by that idea. Plenty of good tackles in this draft, I said. And you both assured me that this kid is a big playmaker without the reputation. Or the hype, yeah. I think when he had said
the size too is pretty much it.
Would love to see this kid come up and show us a little bit of that playmaker stuff and sort of cement the idea that they did make some right picks. I'd like to see Andrew Thomas have a great game tonight, bounce back and show us that he's capable of being the Giants left tackle for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that is my key to victory right there. And that side of the line, Andrew Thomas and Shane Lemieux. It's going to be a big matchup between Andrew Thomas and Myles Garrett. But Shane Lemieux is very important. I played that position. I played guard. And whenever my tackle or my center, because even Sheldon Richardson's going to be tough test for Nick Gates too. So whenever they were struggling, the one thing I always tried to do was just give him a hand. Just make sure the other person knows that there's someone else there. And I watched a lot of, preparing for today's show, I watched a lot of Myles Garrett's tape. A lot of what he can do, a lot of what he does comes off one-on-ones. A lot of his great plays comes off him being one-on-one. If Shane Lemieux can just make himself present, not necessarily get in there and like on-run plays, double team him, work up, that'd be nice, pancake him, but just making sure that you're there and making Myles Garrett feel like he's got two guys on him, not necessarily actually having two guys on him. That's what you got to do, and that's how I love it. My former O-line coach Tommy Drew coming in here talking about it. But yeah, I mean, that's how it's going to work. That's how the Giants are going to get it done against Myles Garrett. And I know Myles Garrett likes to get thrown around the field. He likes to play both sides, but most of the time he is on that left side. So it's going to be a tough task, but I think these rookies are going to come prepared, especially after a down week last week.
You know, it's funny, Freddie Kitchens, I don't think I could have been any more verbal last year about my dislike for this guy. When the Giants picked him up, I was like, this guy's such a clown. But one of my big gripes about him is he's not head coaching material. He's a coordinator kind of guy. And I think this is Freddie Kitchens' chance to shine tonight. I think this is Freddie's chance to sort of redeem himself. He gets a chance to step in. You know, I mean, it's tough to go from head coach to assistant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not even right. What are you, the tight ends coach or whatever?
You know? Not even a coordinator.
I mean, that's a tough spot to be in. So I think for Freddie, especially against Cleveland, this is definitely a chance where if Freddie's really worth his weight, I think he can really do some things here tonight to impress some people and give the Giants a chance to win the game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But now that we talked about all how they're going to get it done, but the question now is, are they going to get it done? And I want scores this time. Joe, I know on the show earlier on Wednesday, you picked the Browns. Has your mind changed at all coming into right now?
It has. I'm going to give you I'm going to say the Giants win this football game. And I say this
Let's go.
I say this because it's been such a wild Sunday. And Sean, you kind of mentioned it earlier, the way that this division's been going every single week with a new division leader. The idea that Washington, you know, they had a pretty good game with Seattle, certainly could have pulled that one out. And especially with Dallas sort of breathing down your neck, I just feel like it just feels right to me suddenly. The Freddie Kitchens aspect, it's starting to feel right. I'm going to go Giants 23 and the Browns 22. And I think this one's going to, it might not necessarily end in a last second field goal. It's going to end in a late field goal. And I think there'll be a defensive stop to wrap it up. And maybe my man Xavier McKinney is the one that locks it down.
Yeah. Sean, can you answer Charlie Green's question?
Charlie, I think we could win, buddy. I think we're going to do it. I'm going to go with Giants 16 and the Browns 14. I think the Giants will run the ball, have success with that. I think they'll get down into field goal range a couple times. I think Graham Gano will be a big game for him. But again, the Giants defense, you got to stop the run with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think they'll have some success with that. Obviously, you can't do too great against them. They're a great duo, but I think they'll be able to hold them to under 14 points. So I think they'll go out and win this. You know, it's kind of ugly defensive, a lot of running the ball game, but I think they're going to pull it out because that's their style and that's the way they're going to win games. So 16-14 Giants win on Sunday night.
You hit the nail on the head there, Sean. It's going to be a gritty, defensive, lot of running, old school football. Time's going to get eaten up off the clock. And I've said it before in the past, kind of just jokingly, but I see this being a field goal battle. And I see it going 13-10, Giants getting the win. I mean, I know we got a lot of people in the comments. Hector thinks it's going to be a high scoring bout. My boy, my former coach Tommy Drew got 2017, and then Ryan Sullivan, screw him. Giants are gonna win. Let's go, baby. Big Blue. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune in. NBC tonight, prime time. Giants take on the Browns. Let's go. Big Blue, baby. Let's go. Thank you, and we hope to see you on Wednesday for a normal show. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Sean, for joining me. Take care. Peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.